All right. Welcome, Adriana Garcia, to the next episode of the Investor Chat podcast. Adriana, thank you so much for joining me tonight. How are you doing tonight?
Thank you, Jeremy, for inviting me. I'm doing absolutely great. I'm happy with all the holidays going on, meeting with people, with friends, family. So I'm doing great. Thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful, Adriana. Thank you. I do appreciate you joining me tonight. I do want to talk a little bit about your investing journey and kind of where you're at. But let's start back before you got into the investing world. What have you done as your W-2 career up to this point, or various careers that you've had?
Got it. I am not a W-2 girl. I can say that. I've worked for some bigger companies just for a bit in sales.
Mhm.
Um, I am not like a corporation person. I do not like it. So I decided this is something that is definitely not for me. I'm very creative in terms of using like my hands, and I do wedding bouquets on the side.
Oh, fun.
With silk flowers, I worked for flower shops as well,
Hmm.
and like event decoration.
Hmm.
That's something that I really enjoy. It's just the fact that you have to go and pick up everything once you rent out the items. And it's like, you know what? I do like this.
Hmm.
It's wonderful, but it's so time consuming.
Mm.
And it's like, everything is time consuming. But when it comes to deciding, prioritizing your time, it's like, okay, I could probably be doing something else that I also enjoy with a bigger profit, with something that is more fulfilling. And I currently work with my husband also. He has a commercial refrigeration company.
Hmm.
And that's what I do right now. I help him with pretty much the bookkeeping side, which
Okay.
I am not either like a transaction coordinator and all paperwork. No, I don't.
Mhm.
It's not that I like it, but it's something that we're doing combined. So, we help each other in that aspect.
Okay.
So on my side, I still do the creative once in a while,
Mhm.
but I totally stopped it when I started the real estate world.
Okay, so that's great. So let's talk about that then. What drew you to the investing world and the real estate investing world specifically?
Honestly, it was my husband. Thanks to him, we
Mhm.
started out investing back in 2014 when we bought our first duplex.
Okay, cool.
So we thought, okay, we're buying the duplex. We're going to be just living in one of the units and rent out the other one. And pretty much that's it, right?
Yeah.
There were no further goals. And we were like, as long as we can get this house paid. But along the way, you start listening to other people, and he is in the business world. It's commercial refrigeration that he does.
Mhm.
So that has helped a lot, that it's an eye-opening, that you start meeting with other people, listening to what they're doing, and your eyes and your world kind of expands. So I think that is very important. So to him in 2018, he was like, let's buy more apartments. Let's buy something
Okay.
else. Let's buy something else. So here comes the opportunity to acquire a fourplex here in Los Angeles as well. And we had no clue. We were very lucky with the duplex because our tenants that we acquired, we inherited the tenants.
Hmm.
There was such a lovely couple, and they were like, you need to do this. I didn't even know what rent control was. We are in the section of rent control.
Hmm.
So she was guiding me. Every certain time, you have to give me a letter of rent increase. You have to do this. So she guided me. So
Oh,
when it
wow.
came to the apartments, it was like, oh my goodness, now I have real tenants. I have to manage this.
Hmm.
And that was my part. I have to manage the tenant side, like the
Yeah.
management. And that's how it all started. My husband pushing me in a good way, though. You
Hmm.
have to learn how to talk to people. You gotta learn how to manage. And it's been really good. I can say ups and downs at the beginning because you're new to it.
Hmm.
So that's what pretty much got us started. And I wasn't happy in terms of just helping my husband, just doing like the bookkeeping side or paperwork for his business. It's what do I want?
Yeah.
And I've always liked the flipping part. Oh,
Okay.
I've been telling him, let's flip houses, let's flip houses.
Hmm.
And he is a little bit more conservative, and he thinks things over a little bit more than I do. I think I'm more emotional. I like with women, I think it's more in the creative side and want to make things pretty all the time.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think that's why I'm leaning more into the flipping. I also have a lot of family members that in my country, I'm from Mexico,
Hmm.
they do construction. And I've seen that since I was a little girl, even for our house in Mexico, they helped us build the house. And I grew up seeing all this. So I think that's why I lean more towards the construction and flipping.
Hmm.
And that started attracting me to the real estate world.
I
I'm like,
gotcha.
I like this. I really like this. I enjoy it. And
Hmm.
I started seeing all these young people in social media doing all this flips, all this Airbnb. And I'm like, wow, I'm here sitting and I'm like, I'm 40 years old and I haven't done anything. I just have it in the back of my head saying I like it, but I don't take a
Hmm.
step forward. And I'm like, it's time. So that's what got me here.
That's really exciting. And I think there's a couple pieces there that you spoke to that I think a lot of times draw investors into any type of investment is you had some personal history from family, friends building a house in Mexico and being able to be part of that and see that development, that building. And I caught on kind of early as you was talking about doing some of the creative stuff, some of the bouquets that you definitely enjoy that aspect of creating something, right? You take different things and group them together, bring them together, and like you said, to make them beautiful. And so I think that's super unique that you're going to be able to do that and you have a special eye for those types of things and the fix and flip side of it. I think that speaks to your nature of who you are, being able to focus on that. And so I think that's really cool that you've recognized that and been able to already start to drive some of your focus into that area. And so let's talk about when you bought this fourplex in
Mhm.
2018. Was there some of the renovations that you guys had to do on that property? Was it a really nice property when you bought it, or did it need some work? And what was some of that work that you did?
So this is the thing that good question. When we bought the property, the building is a beautiful building.
Mhm.
It's team 29, I believe, building.
Mhm.
And from the inside, everything it's old, obviously, right?
Mhm.
But it has like so unique features. And we were like, we should do this, we should do that. But then we have tenants in
Mhm.
place.
Mhm.
So it's not like you can go and make all these renovations. Another thing that we thought, okay, now we know it, right? But
Mhm.
we had regular water heaters and we wanted to start off making everything better in
Mhm.
that property. We had the investor side that wanted just to put the money, acquire the property, and do that cash flow. And then
Yep.
on the other side, we're like, let's make this beautiful.
Yeah.
And we started off with those water heaters. That was the biggest lesson we got. So we replaced those water heaters with tankless water heaters. And that was like the to us, it was a really huge mistake because they say, and now we know, do not fix something that's not broken.
Yep.
When you're an investor, you don't go in and try to fix things. The mindset of an investor is just acquire the property, and if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Do not put money into it yet.
Mhm.
So now we're focused more in the items that really need to get fixed.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what we're doing. Another thing is that as an investor mindset now, like if the rents are not really paying off, it is not a good time to invest on a unit and
Yeah.
make it look better if you're not going to be getting that return.
Mm.
But of course, you're not going to be letting your property get worse and worse. Like I said, if you need something to get it fixed, we approach that. We do take an approach into that. We did some plumbing as well once we did the water heaters.
Mhm.
But if you open a can of worms, like they
Yep.
say, so once you start something, here comes something else. So okay, so let's just wait. We had an issue with the roof and let's fix it because the roof is one of the biggest, it's a fourplex, it's one same unit.
Mhm.
And it's like, no, we have to address this. And those particular things, yes. But in terms of paint, the stucco, how it looks outside, we've been leaving it as it is right now.
Yeah.
So that we've learned. That's why they say everything is a lesson and you just start taking note and start learning and you learn and listen from other people. Now you know why they say things.
Yeah, I think that's such a valuable lesson. And I've had to learn that one the hard way myself, and I'll be completely honest with you, because one of the things that you said was you learned that it wasn't necessary for you to change those water heaters, right? It was just something that you wanted to do. You wanted to make it nice, right? And so
Yes.
it's so interesting that you had to learn that the hard way, because again, I've had to do the same thing. You don't need to over enhance a property, especially if you're not going to get the rents for it. Because
Mhm.
just like you said, is if the rents are not going to afford granite countertops or a tankless water heater, why would you put that extra money into the property? Because as an investor, at the end of the day, our goal is to be able to provide affordable housing to individuals and make sure that those properties are maintained and provide a good quality of living, right? And so at the end of the day, we're trying to buy these and you use these properties as an investment. And if we're overdeveloping those properties, then we're just throwing money away, right? Because we're never going to get those returns. And so I think that's such a valuable lesson. And a lot of investors that I've talked to have had to learn that the hard way. And so I love that you tell that story, because that's exactly most investors. They need to hear that, especially if they're new, that you don't need to overdevelop those properties.
Yes, definitely, Jeremy. That's something that we've learned, and it's great. We did had to put in some money and time and just like breaking your head, and you're like, oh my gosh, because we had to deal with all this kind of permits as well. It
Yeah.
wasn't like shortly after we converted them, we put the tankless water heaters, we get the housing inspector in. It's time for your inspection.
Mhm.
So I don't know where you live. Do you guys have rent control by any chance?
We don't. I'm in central Utah. And so luckily for me, it's
Okay.
basically just driven based on what the market will pay. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. For here in LA, most of the areas are rent control.
Mhm.
So every now and then, every single year, you have to pay what is called a SCEP fee and for RSO. So
Mm.
pretty much what it does, you have an inspector come in every 3 to 5 years. With COVID, it
Mhm.
changed a little bit because we haven't had anything scheduled, but this was right before COVID hit. And we changed these water heaters. And 2 months later, we receive a letter that it was time for us to get an inspector, right?
Mm.
To get it in. And we knew because we in the duplex, it's the same situation.
Mhm.
So we're like, okay, no problem. And as soon as the inspector walked into the laundry rooms, because that's where we have the tankless water heaters, he's
Mhm.
like, this looks new. This looks new. And checking, on the website for building and safety now, it's like, do you guys have the permits? And we're like, wait a minute. We needed the permits just to
Mm.
swap it. And he's like, yes. And you had to do this, you had to do all this. And we're like, oh.
Oh
And
no.
it started adding up. Now we had to go through building and safety. We had to pay all the permits. And the worst thing is that they had to break the walls and have everything inspected, have other stuff installed. So that's why I'm telling you, you pretty much open a can of worms. And
Yeah.
it's always better to, I know a lot of people do work without permits.
Mhm.
We didn't even know. We were told by the inspector, it's like, you need a permit even to change your toilet. Like,
Yeah.
it's wait, what? I'm like, are you serious? So now, like, for a light bulb or specific stuff, and it's crazy how they do require for minimal stuff.
Yeah.
We learned as we went through that process, but now we think things over before taking the next step. So
Yeah, I think
yes.
that's another valuable lesson, right? Because a lot of times, especially early entrepreneurs, early investors, a lot of times when they get into real estate specifically, it's because they enjoy doing the work or they can do the work themselves. I grew up in a family that we did some construction, we did some HVAC. And so for me, it was very natural for me to be able to just go in and fix stuff myself. And I have to be very careful when I'm having stuff done. So right now we're going through a flip house ourselves. And so I've paid a contractor, and I just make sure when I'm having my conversations with him is like, hey, have you pulled these permits? Have you pulled these permits? We're going to do some electrical. We're going to do some plumbing. We're going to do these things. You have to make sure you're pulling permits. And it says, and I'm not going to be the one pulling those permits. I need you to pull those permits, because some contractors will push back and say, no, that's your responsibility as the homeowner to pull the permits. And so I wanted to make sure that as I was working on this property, that I was very clear with my contractors, like, you are the one that needs to be pulling these permits. And so I think, again, that's such a valuable lesson. And it sounds like you had to learn it the hard way, right? Through these hard knocks. But I think that's the best way for us to learn sometimes, is to be able to experience those things And now you have a story that you can share with others and a reason why they should be getting permits pulled and following along the right way. So I think that's such a cool piece to share with the audience. So thank you for sharing that. So cool. So as you've grown, you've got a couple or duplex and a fourplex.
Mhm.
And so where are you at now? What are the things that you're working on in your investing and your real estate business right now?
Right now, our focus are we are lucky that they opened the law that where we can build accessory dwellings,
Yeah,
which are
cool.
ADUs
Hmm.
here in the city of LA.
Hmm.
So since we acquired the property, we wanted to build because we have a pretty good sized garage in the back, and we wanted to make that into another unit. We were not allowed until a couple years ago, and we're like, oh, so I think it is a time to invest and convert it into an ADU. So that's where we're at right now. In both of the units, we will be adding ADUs.
Cool.
At first, we wanted to go for only two detached ADUs in the duplex,
Hmm.
and we are like going in a different route where we can add a third unit. So it's a instead
Oh,
of
wow.
just going with a duplex now and then a fourplex, now we're converting it into a fiveplex. So that's
Nice.
for one. And the fourplex that we currently have, it's going to be a sixplex now. We're adding two more ADUs.
Oh,
Yeah,
very
it's
cool.
been a long road with that too.
Hmm.
I've learned a lot. I'm the one dealing with the architect, and I'm lucky enough that my husband gives me that push again. He's always the one telling me, you have to learn, get your feet wet. It's
Hmm.
nothing like being able to talk to people. And I was always so scared of talking to people, or what if I say this and they get mad? You're
Hmm.
like, you're paying for a service.
Yeah.
Like they shouldn't get mad if you talk to people respectfully and just let them know what you want. And it's been working, it's been hard with architects in terms of time. It's been this May will be almost 2 years for the
Oh, wow.
permits. He made the big mistake of providing her all the projects at the same time. We gave a down payment for all the projects. And again, it's been a very costly mistake, but we are learning. So now for the next, let's say, couple years down the line, if we buy another property and we want to add an ADU, now we know what to do and what not to do. So it has helped us a lot.
Yeah, so that permit process and that the ability to be able to add those ADUs, it's taking a long time to be able to get that through the city, through the architect, and be able to get all that permitting in place. And so that's probably something that could be super painful for most people or even downright discouraging at times. And so, how are you dealing with that discouragement or that frustration when you're waiting and waiting? Are there are you just looking at the big picture? What are you doing for your mindset in that situation?
The biggest thing that has helped us, and I say us because my husband, we're both in the same boat here. We have a main goal. So we're pretty much focusing on that main goal. And we're like, we know the path might not be smooth and straight, but we
Mhm.
know we're going to get there.
Yeah.
So that's what has helped us. This is our
Mhm.
goal. And this just looking at the bigger pictures. Once we have this ADUs done, what is it going to provide to us, right?
Mhm.
And in Spanish is like the benefit of, I think that's what it is. The benefit that we're going to have once the ADUs are done, it's
Mhm.
way bigger than all the hustle we're going through.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it. And I always see it as well, like every single thing that happens in life is just a learning lesson. Some are costly, like very
Yeah.
expensive lessons, but it's life again, and that's it. We pay one way or the other.
Mhm.
So they're just lessons at the end of the day and learn as we go.
I think that's so amazing, and it sounds like you have an amazing husband to be able to support you and help you through those tough times as well. And so I think that's extremely key for many investors as we get into the world, whether it's real estate or any type of investing, is to be able to have that support around us, whether it's a spouse or a really good friend or a community. And so I think that's so powerful that you have that individual in your life to be able to help you through those things. And I love how you said that this is for your benefit, and being able to look that long view out, right? You're looking out 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and being able to realize, keeping the big picture in mind, that you're going to be able to realize those benefits. And it's just as part of life, right? It's just everything. You just have to learn it to be able to move on. So I think that's so key. And in your mindset, as you've gone through this, you've got a great partner. But are there other people that you've been able to reach out to, or is there maybe like a book or anything like that that you would recommend to investors that are in the real estate world or in the investing world, that they can use along their path as well?
Absolutely, Jeremy. It's been a journey. When I started, nowadays social media, it's out there and you can find pretty much everything.
Hmm.
Social media, YouTube University.
Yeah.
So I've been reaching out to local investors here. I've been attending a lot of meetings and I sent messages. Whatever I don't know, I ask. I'm always asking, and I know a lot of people are just going to ignore me, but others have taken their time, and I'm extremely thankful and grateful that they've been guiding me in a way, in a sense that they're like, just start going to meet up, start reading books, start asking like you're asking me. And that pretty much opened my doors.
Hmm.
And now I'm not afraid. I've never been afraid of asking. I'm not
Hmm.
embarrassed or anything. I'm like, if I don't know something, I want to know. It's that hunger for knowledge. And like some local investors that do flips here, his name is Rene. That's one of them. And then we also have Ed. They're from Milk House. They're pretty much the ones that kind of got me introduced to all this. I reached out to Ed and he's like guiding me, do this, keep on going to meetups. After that, that took me to another great investors. I met Alex Camacho here in Southern California. And at the time, also, Alex Camacho was working with Will Walls,
Hmm.
and I started attending their meetings. I started volunteering, and that's the way you volunteer. You go, you approach them, and that's one thing takes you to the other. And then the networking aspect is great because we learn from everyone,
Yep.
from every single person. And I think that's has been one of the biggest things that has helped me, and from where I've learned in terms of the investing world.
Hmm.
So in one of those meetings too, oh, Sonia, there's this lady here in Southern California as well. She's a realtor and she's been working with development companies. So everything starts like linking up.
Mm.
And that's where I met my partner that pretty much got me introduced to Sub2. We met another guy. His name is Brian Catalan here in Southern California. Hey, have you heard of PAYS, Subject 2? I'm like, no, what is that? And then we just started, talking, and pretty much PAYS more. I started watching his videos, Ryan Pineda, Grant Cardone. And after you start watching so many people that do all this, and it can get overwhelming at first.
Hmm.
And then you're like, you know what? I don't want to do anything else. Like you see them over here, pretty much it's FOMO, what they say, like
Yeah.
fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And you're like, you see yourself down here and you see them up here. And you're like, when will I be able to kind of align? And that's one of the biggest things that has cost me a lot in terms of emotionally,
Hmm.
because you want to be up here too,
Yep.
right? And then you see other members in the community that are also up here. And once again, my husband's like, do not compare yourself with other people. I've heard it from Pace. I've heard it from other investors. And I spoke with Priscilla too, another great member from the Sub2 community. She's like, no, focus on you. You do you, and you are making your progress in one way. And just, I think that's one of the main things that has helped me, talking to them. They're also going through the process, and it's just been great. I know a lot of people say you have to read books. I'm not a big reader.
Hmm.
I'll be honest with you. I'm more like hands-on. I
Yeah.
might read something for a little bit and it's like, okay, close that book. I have to take action and do it on myself. That's the way I learn. I'm very visual. I'm very hands-on. Once they tell me, give it a try this. I look at it, I'm like, I like it, maybe not. And if I see it's something that I might like it and learn from it and it's going to make me grow, I'm like, yeah, let me try it. Why not? Right. If I fail, there's something else. And it's not just failing, because I'm telling you, everything is a lesson. You learn everything. You learn stuff from everything and everywhere and everyone. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, I think that's so amazing because as I listen to you talk through the individuals that you was able to work with, right? You started out just going and doing, going to these meetups and talking with people, being able to get yourself out there and introduce yourself and talk to the individuals. And then that individual introduces you to somebody else. And then they introduce you to somebody else and to another group and then to another individual. And so it's amazing to me how sometimes as investors that we think we can do it all on our own. Yet you're a prime example of how we have to work together and be able to help each other out along the way to make sure that we are moving forward. And I never once heard you say that somebody was your competition and they told you, I'm not going to help you. Everyone that you talked with was open, willing to help you out. And I think that sometimes we get caught in our own dark place in our mind and we think that nobody is going to want to help us. You're on this path by yourself. And that's just not the case. And again, as you mentioned, through all of these individuals that were able to help you along your way. And I love that you mentioned that you don't do a lot of reading. You much prefer the hands on approach. And you go and you talk with the individuals, you learn from them, they show you something or they explain something to you. And then you try to think through it a little bit, understand it, and then move forward. I think that's so cool. And sometimes as investors, we hold ourselves back because we don't take that step. We don't take that action. So I love your example of being able to be that action moving forward and continuing to grow and continuing to take your investing to that next level. We talked about what you've done. We've talked about what you're working on. And so I would like to just wrap up with where you see yourself moving forward. So I know you've got some stuff that's in process with the ADUs, but what does the long-term goal look like for Adriana and her husband and your family? What is that? What is your big vision? At the end of the day, where do you want to be? What does overall success look like for you?
I think success for me is pretty much having a life where I can be calm and relaxed in terms of mentally, emotionally, and also health wise. Pretty much to me, that's the number one success. Obviously, we want the main goal is to be stable, have some income money, and not be
Mhm,
worried if I don't get this amount of money this month, be worrying about the bills.
mhm,
So that's the main goal when it comes to the economic side. And our biggest goal right now is to have a bigger piece of land in a little bit of a rural area,
mhm,
have a small farm. And we also invested in a property in Mexico in Tulum.
mm,
So it's just going back and forth. That's where I see at the end, being able to travel back and forth, have like a single property here in California.
mhm,
And if the months come and we're like, you know what, let's go and relax for a little bit in Mexico, just go and live a couple months over there, come back when we want,
mhm,
and just be working if it happens. And because it's not just crossing your arms and that's it and sitting down, right? You're always looking for something else to do. So we're in the thinking of doing probably either like a small like venue, or if we acquire like a small ranch, just
oh, cool.
probably do something to make some money out of it as well. And
Mhm,
if that's not the case, probably just acquire another business that could be a business that can be run like by someone else.
okay.
You start it, but then like we can start it, let's say 1 year, 2 years, be
Mhm,
in it, because
mhm,
you have to structure it, right?
yep.
And then have someone else run it and be with that flexibility of not having to worry and be nice and calm. Like I think that's everything, like peace of mind. Yes.
Yeah, so I love how you expressed that there's an economic part to it, right? And money is required for that. And so being able to have the freedom of money is absolutely key. You touched on a couple other pieces there that I've heard from a few other investors, and I think that's what drives a lot of successful investors is also the freedom of time. so you can go and do what you want when you want to do it, and the freedom of location. When you mentioned about being able to have a property in Mexico and a property in Southern California where you can travel between the two of them without any worry, you can, live wherever you want, right? And so that freedom of location, I think, is so cool. And being able to build that up and having that big vision is going to help you get there. And it's obvious that you have a path that you're working on, right? You're not afraid of the grind. You're not afraid to get your hands dirty and get moving forward and be able to work hard. And you just mentioned about starting or buying a business that you could use as, you own the property. It's a venue that you can use for different things. I think that's such a cool vision to be able to do these different things and be able to work on the things that you want to work on. As investors, I think that's what drives a lot of us. And I love to hear that piece and to hear your vision, because everybody's are a little bit different. But I think that's key, is to be able to have that freedom of money, the freedom of location, and the freedom of time. So I absolutely love that, Adriana. I absolutely love your story. And so, as we wrap up, I just want to ask if there's somebody that wants to reach out to you and network with you. Is there a great way for them to contact you? Is it through social media? Is it through an email? Or what's the best way for people to reach out to you and work with you?
Absolutely, Jeremy. They can reach me at Instagram and Nana Zoe.
Okay.
Nana, it's Nanazoe. So
Okay.
Nana Zoe.
Uh-huh.
And on Facebook is Adriana Garcia.
Okay, cool, cool. And I will put those down in the show notes down at the bottom, so that if people want to reach out to you, Adriana, that they can do so, whether Facebook or Instagram. I absolutely have had a wonderful conversation with you tonight, Adriana. You've given me some inspiration and you've given me some motivation, and hopefully that those that are watching have also received that same motivation, and will be able to move forward and have you as an example that to drive us all forward. So thank you so much. With that, I'm just gonna close out and say goodnight to everybody. And thank you, Adriana.
Thank you, Jeremy. It's been a pleasure. Have a blessed night.
You too.